everybody, and welcome to the Weekend Big Show, powered by Law Dog Sports. Here with you on another Friday, and there we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome
God
to the
bless
Weekend
America.
That tells me what this weekend's going to be like, Jeremy. Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. So when you stream on YouTube live from Zoom, you got to shut off the volume on the YouTube that pops up on your PC.
Yeah, that would be helpful. I can't even find the feed right now.
It's probably lost out there in internet hell. Who cares?
Fantastic. Oh, there it is. All right.
Oh, there it is. All right. So once again, I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, and he is Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways, and quite the rough start to get going today. And
Heck of a start.
heck of a start. Way to kick off this thing. And while I have you up on a dual screen, I'm noticing that maybe you come in here in a minute, because I guess there is a little bit of a lag on the YouTubes.
I guess so.
All right, let's get started. It is a Friday, and this is the Weekend Big Show, and we bring you sports talk every week here on the channel at Law Dog Sports, and also on our podcast pages, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts at Law Dog Sports. Leave a message on our website, lawdogsports.com, and we will read it on the air. And then also, you can get links to every one of our platforms there on the website. So, here on the YouTubes today, I got into a little bit of a tizzy last night, Jeremy, because I thought I was going to. We're on the Google version of streaming TV, which we are on now, and I thought we were going to be without the local CBS affiliate. And how was I going to catch that one Thunder game they broadcast on March whatever?
Oh, they're going to be on CBS. That's national TV, sir. I don't think the world's ready for that.
KWTV, Oklahoma
okay.
City is we were going to lose Channel 9 is what I'm getting
Really?
at. Yeah. And so they must have reached an 11th hour deal, because at 10 o'clock when they were supposed to not be available, we still have all of the Paramount networks and then also Channel 9, which I don't watch. Yeah, I guess I would have lost I guess I would have lost the 8 hours of Seinfeld and Office reruns every day on Comedy Central.
Yeah, and you probably wouldn't be able to watch Picard and all the Star Wars or Star Trek content that you live for.
Bar Rescue, that guy. I mean, was it John Tapper?
John Tapper.
Yeah.
Or Taffer. It's something like that. It's in there.
Tapper, whatever. Charles Tapper was a good guy.
Sure. Chuck. Old Chuck Tapper.
Old Chucky D. I was sitting there thinking the other day of, because you put together your wish list of interviews that you could do. And I don't know how it would work. I know I'd be a fanboy for at least a 5-minute period, and who knows how he would take it. But I would love to reach out to Chuck D from Public Enemy and see if he could come on and talk.
I bet. I know you were a big Public Enemy fan back.
I was down with the PE back in the 90s, baby. If I could have rocked the Kid and Play fade, I might have.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, I'm probably glad too. Yeah, I used to wear the boonie hats that were kind of floral pattern and kind of skaterish. I was kind of a wannabe skater in '89, and that was embarrassing enough. But anyways,
that's right up there with the mullet.
Yeah, the mullet was one of those things that you kind of got wrapped up in like a political movement. You did it, and you're like, hey, look at all of us.
Yeah, I had the middle school mullet, and then we moved on from that.
Well, I did the PA announcing for Moore Soccer for a hot minute back in 1990, I think. And the Canadian hockey mullet was really in prevalence with the Moore boys soccer team. I call it the Alex Lifeson now.
Or maybe like the was it Jaromir Jagr that had the mullet that was down to his waist.
He had the full blown. He had what I think was referred to at one time back in Urban Dictionary lore as the king mullet.
Yes.
And when I was doing narcotic investigations in Oklahoma City, I would encounter that in a lot of the South Side establishments that King mullet ruled. But No, I always liked the Alex Lifeson mullet because it was party in the front and party in the back, and then a little bit of business on the sides.
Sure.
So you had the bangs down front and then the long locks in the back. Thing is, I had bushy hair as a kid, so I didn't have to go perm my mullet. There were dudes in my school that I guess their parents would have had to have taken them to a hairstylist.
Oh yes,
Think about this.
they were
Young
the subject
men.
of much ridicule around the old Norman public school system back in.
I don't remember Coeta Gal. We're talking what, mid '80s to early '90s difference.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember Coeta kids getting belittled that hard about the perm mullet. It was such a thing in '85.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I think it
Love
kind of worked its way through. When you see a dude come to school with a perm, it's like,
Yeah, people had come to their senses by '89, but in '85, to think that you would schedule a perm appointment for your 15, 16-year-old son to go
I think
get
'89 was when I finally got my first flat top.
Mm.
Yeah, got to get
I
that
tried
haircut
it
you
in
can set a watch
93.
to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tried it in '93. My hair just didn't do it. I could see you with a Mr. Buzz cut.
Yeah. It was back in the day when I wanted to be Tom Rathman.
Yeah, didn't we all? Anyway, so there are sports going on, not just hair talk, and we're here with you on the Weekend Big Show. And like I said, be sure and subscribe to our YouTube page here. I know the intro of this was just god awful, but we'll try to fix that in post. And then also we will, always upload our. I guess maybe Jeremy, I could probably try to shift some energy of the actual podcast page to Spotify, because if I'm picking up on people in general, that's really where people are going to get their podcast content.
Yeah, I Rogan's done pretty well, but I'm afraid if we jump over there, we may steal some of his listeners.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of competition for that
Poor
audience.
Jason Kelsey's wife.
Oh yeah. She's always got something going on, and then.
Sure.
Well, let's go ahead and delve into it since you cracked the egg. The Super Bowl 59 was a is it called a non sequitur, non-factor,
I was going to go with ass beating, but
non-game ass beating. The Philadelphia Eagles just really came out, and Jeremy, as a Chiefs fan, I watch them, I'll enjoy them. Right now, being uncommitted in the NFL is great because I can be such a front runner for who I feel at the time. But I will say this, as for you as a Chiefs fan, I could not help but have just flashbacks of the 2005 Orange Bowl, Oklahoma versus USC, where a quarterback is just running for his life and there's only 4 guys rushing the quarterback.
it
And
felt like the Tampa Bay Super Bowl.
Sure.
They
Sure.
couldn't block. They couldn't block anybody. Philly didn't have to blitz.
Yeah.
When I saw Mike Caliendo come out for the third series, I almost turned it off. That'd been the left guard who was just a turnstile all night. It was bad.
They got good pressure on the right side too.
Yeah.
It was. I guess I don't know what Creed Humphrey graded out at, but that offensive line was so bad it couldn't be that great. But the up the middle rush wasn't necessarily quite in his face like some teams, but from the edges they were closing in on him tight.
Those tackles got I ran around, ran through. It was bad. Now you know what Kansas City's got to do in the offseason.
Oh yeah, it's offensive line time, and you
definitely.
It's like the old line from The Longest Yard. Number one priority is protect your quarterback.
Yep.
And that's me. But no, Mahomes was underdressed. But I will say this, and I did hear it get brought up in some day after conversation, is you only tried to run the ball 6 times.
Yeah, I didn't understand it.
And
get some of that heat to let up, run the football. They didn't run the football the first 2 drives. It didn't make any sense to me.
Well, and it's not like you're throwing, Saquon out there against that defensive front for Philadelphia. You got 2 battering rams, 3 if you count Samaje, And then
the whole game plan just seemed disjointed from the start. They were trying to take shots downfield when there was no time. Short routes were there, but they weren't taking them. They weren't running the football. I just don't understand what they were doing.
Yeah, the short hot routes, I don't understand how a quarterback of that stature isn't checking into those. I mean,
well, they ran a lot of plays. His first read was down the field. By the time he got that back foot set, it's time to move.
Yeah. How many times have we seen him make a play though without that back foot set? I mean,
I'm aware.
Right now, circulating. I'm aware. sound like Costanza.
I am aware.
You've really lost a lot of hair. And right now, circulating pretty heavily on social media is the play where Mahomes scrambles right and Kelce just sits down where he's supposed to sit down, but then once he sees the plays breaking down, he just checks out.
Yeah. I don't. Is he done?
I
feel like he's done.
He's been living the high life now for a year and a half.
I mean, your guy's scrambling. I don't care if you saw the flag. Get in somebody's way. Don't let him take a hit. He just stood there.
His guy got a lick on your quarterback, Yeah,
and I don't understand what was going on. He dropped 2 passes in the first 2 drives. Just did not look like Travis Kelce. It's old or checked out or out of shape or hungover.
What they were in New Orleans. Theorists say
they threw the game.
They threw the game.
Threw the game.
I'm not saying that, but I'm sure that's being floated out there. Jeremy, today is Friday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, and I'm sure that if you were Travis Kelce, what would your Valentine today be for his other?
Maybe he was just. Maybe it was supposed to have been last Sunday when he was going to propose. Maybe he proposes today. I don't know. Maybe
he wants to get on that ticket. I guarantee you.
Well, yeah.
Because I mean, he's got money, but not that kind of money.
Right. But then you have to deal with all the devil worship and this thing.
Oh yeah. Is she a baby eater?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Look up Anton
sarcasm, people. Sarcasm, people.
Hey, that was sarcastic. Sorry.
No, it was meant to be. We're not trying to take those listeners from Joe Rogan.
Well, my wife does not entertain my conspiracy theorist ways. So,
wives generally don't, and that's probably what makes them the smarter, the smarter half of marriages and things like that.
Until they all start coming true, Chuck.
Well, when they do, every man can sit back and take a victory lap. But no, Super Bowl 59, quite the dud. I was happy for Jalen Hurts. His story is just an amazing one, and his positivity and his persistence are just, they have to be unparalleled. I mean, maybe not unparalleled, but in this time, when you're talking about kids that are his age range, it's pretty unparalleled. I mean, we had the story when we were younger about Kurt Warner, fighting through the arena leagues and getting into the Super Bowl and some other stuff. But I mean, Jalen is currently the prime example of, hey, just because you get benched doesn't mean that you have to accept that your career's over.
No, and the lesson learned here is they gave up on him at Alabama. They gave up on him. Had 2
not now.
Not now.
He's back in the fold now.
They sure want him now. But what a terrible thing that happened to him, though. I mean, he had to go to Oklahoma, of all places, and play for. And I hate him just as much as this next guy, but one of the best developers of transfer quarterbacks we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And gets to do that for a year. Philly drafts him.
Yeah.
2nd round pick. He's going to be a package deal.
That's the thing. He's just going to be a wildcat.
Yeah. And then they build an offense around the guy, and he's a Super Bowl champion. And what's Tua doing? Collecting concussions and broken hips.
Just sitting back in the pocket, waiting to get blasted. I mean, I was really impressed with Sirianni and them's game plan. They knew. I mean, you go into it, that Spags is going to look at Saquon and say, "You're not going to beat us."
And he didn't.
No, he did. He did
Jalen
not.
played a whale
Yeah.
of a game, but they were committing that 8th guy into the box every single play.
Yeah. And really defensively, you can't take anything away from Kansas City because we've seen it. We saw it a bunch last season in Norman. There are games out there where the defense comes out and probably has the Jimmies and Joes and the plan to really play a great game.
And the
And
offense,
once they see that they get absolutely no help from the offense, it just kind of falters.
yeah, they're demoralized.
Yeah. And Chris Jones is a visible billboard for that.
Yep.
And I'm not faulting him for that. I'm just saying.
No. He got dinged up on that first brotherly shove when he tried to take out whatever the center's name is, and some sort of neck injury. Then he got hurt, the knee. So
yeah. Well, long season, and you know it can happen. It can happen that way. You know, with so many players, and hats off to the Kansas City defense because really that could have been 40-0.
Yeah. Now, what I'm looking to now is what's the next evolution of this Kansas City offense? Because it's not fun to watch anymore.
No, that I think when you're talking about all of these great, and here's the thing, and we just mentioned it just a minute or two ago. You got to have if you have a star tight end, he's got to be checked in enough to come in and be ready to go. He was ass all season long.
Sure was. What did I see? Andy Reid took Alex Smith and turned him into Joe Montana. And then he took Patrick Mahomes and turned him into Alex Smith.
Yeah, there could be arguments made.
Yeah, you know, the too high safety look they see, they haven't had the guys that can get down the field. They do now.
Yeah.
And I think they'll finally get on the same page. Hopkins retired after the game.
Did he?
Yeah,
I guess I missed that.
You still have Worthy and Rice on.
You may not have Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius Toney wasn't on the team anyways. He was with the Browns.
He already off?
Yeah, he's been gone for a year.
Okay.
Yeah, he was with the Browns. His last stop was Cleveland, and then to wherever he tried to strangle that girl.
Well, you gotta love the fact that when that story runs, they got him all in Chiefs regalia.
Of course they do. No, he hadn't been on the Chiefs, and they released him shortly after the lining up offsides deal last year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's been gone for a minute. And if Busso's on here, he could probably give you the exact date and time that the story hit.
Well, we may not have any of our we may not have listener one, Jeremy. I'm not seeing any comments, and I guess we've got 2 watching, and hell, one of those could be me.
And the other was probably me.
Yeah. Great job, guys. we bring the heat. No, but you know, the thing about it is I think they will figure out a way to build around Xavier Worthy. He's obviously got the wheels, and if they put a little bit of beef on him, somehow, some way, he could withstand probably some of that. But he showed in garbage time what he can do, but he also showed in the playoff run that they can use him and do different things. I was just amazed by the route that Devontae Smith and the catch he made for Philly, and Jalen just puts it on a dime. You know, Philly's a contender next season.
Their window's wide open.
It is, and when you got an offensive line that big, because I mean they were all on Jimmy Fallon 2 nights ago, or Tuesday night they were on because he had Saquon and Jalen on there, and they brought him out to do a beer shotgun contest at the end of the segment, and here comes Lane Johnson, and he's humongous, and he's not even the biggest on the line.
Well, and they just lost a Hall of Fame center, arguably a Hall of Fame center.
Yeah.
And replaced him and didn't miss a beat. Probably got better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a Kelsey. He had to have been at the end of the rope. But, you know, one thing about the window, as we bring it up, it opens for a while, and you do everything you can to get as much as you can, and nothing can be, faulted against Kansas City for falling short in a three-peat. Now, you would have loved to have seen a more competitive effort and not be dominated, by a defense that only rushes four. To me, and I felt this after I mentioned that '05 Orange Bowl. That's one of the most emasculating things you can do to an offense.
Yeah,
Is,
it was.
is say we're just going to run defensive line. We're just going to rush defensive linemen, and we will give you everything you want.
Yeah, and they did, and man, yeah, it was just awful, awful, awful performance.
Yeah. Well, next season, as we mentioned, the Eagles will be a favorite to get into a repeat mode. The Chiefs back-to-back Super Bowls was pretty amazing. In the fact that, how many times do we see a Super Bowl champion? I mean, Philly's coming off of a season last year where they didn't have Saquon Barkley, but who they have, like the Swift kid, who's not a bad running back.
No, they lost a bunch of games at the end of the season. They
Yeah.
got in the playoffs. Didn't they
lost to Tampa?
Tampa, that's right.
Yeah. But that was a bad season by their standard after a Super Bowl appearance. So, what they're able to do off of a championship will be interesting to see. And, who are some suitors that, everybody probably, the automatic usual suspects are Buffalo and Baltimore, who can maybe bust open and get through their window. But I don't know.
I don't either.
Kansas City, patch up, get that offensive line. And, as much as the offensive line's taking a beating, how many times do we hear analysts say sacks aren't just on the offensive line?
Well, when they rush four.
Well, true. But still, if the pressure's coming as a veteran quarterback, as a quarterback who people, and, I hate to delve into this on the heels of your sorrow, but you have to kind of be coping by now. When you're talking GOAT conversation, getting the ball out quickly when you know that they're able to get to you with four. I knew within the first possession they were going to get to him with four. Get it out quick. Playmakers, dude.
Yeah. And, so they're bringing four, which means they have 7 in coverage.
True.
But
they were playing most of the time.
Your defense has already been on the field for a ton of plays.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I think they thought they needed to get the ball down the field to playmakers, just instead of dinking and dunking, and which they should have, by the third possession, they were already pretty much it was 14-0.
Yeah, I think they came out maybe right before the half, and they ran the ball with Pacheco and got 8 yards, and then he threw a quick out to the flat, and they got the first down, and I thought, okay, here's where they'll pick up some rhythm. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, he's sitting back there in the pocket just getting battered,
Well,
he might have no, that wasn't a pick. So
no, early in the game, there were spots where guys let him down, where he did make plays, got out of the pocket, hits Hopkins in stride. There's nobody.
Boy, he's running now.
There's right. There's nobody there's no one on the screen with him.
Mm-hmm.
He catches that ball. Even if he falls down, he's probably getting 20, 30 yards after the catch.
Yeah.
Kelsey dropping big third down passes. Man, it was just tough to watch.
It just goes to prove my point. They threw it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so Super Bowl 59 is over. Were you clued in on any part of the halftime program?
No.
Have you ever listened to a Kendrick Lamar song?
No.
Yeah. I gotta say, and this is where it's more my age rather than even my bias, but I just, the guy's never been a blip on the radar for me in even hearing about hip hop stuff. I hear that name, and I could intermingle his name with Bruno Mars and Jason Derulo and about 5 others that I couldn't. I distinguish Bruno Mars, but there's several of them. I'm just kind of Kendrick Lamar. Okay.
Yeah, we're a little old for that, but next season, Super Bowl's in San Francisco.
Grateful Dead. Oh,
No. Metallica.
oh, wow. Think so?
Please?
I remember in the 80s
No,
they
it'll
used to
probably
call
be
them
somebody that you've
Alcoholica.
only seen on TikTok.
Do what now?
It'll probably be somebody you've never heard of that you've only seen on
Oh
TikTok.
yeah, it'll be some trender. And here's the thing: go back, and even though I was I've been a huge classic rock fan my whole life. Prince was '80s pop, but that's got to be the greatest halftime
That
show
was
of all time.
amazing. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, there's really no argument. And
Well, even and this shows our age. Even the Dr. Dre, Snoop, 50 Cent halftime show in L.A. was
and a
better
lot.
than in LA was better than what we got with the guy that was
Oh
wearing
yeah.
the girl jeans and yeah.
And last year with who was it? Rihanna,
Was it?
I guess. It was,
I,
somebody took the clips from Sunday's halftime show and meshed it up. Is it moshed it or meshed it?
Mixed.
Mixed it up with the Muppets theme. And it works perfectly.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll put a wrap on the Super Bowl, and the window's not completely closed for the Chiefs. You get somebody in to a quality tight end. They've got a lot of guys that are kind of decide what you want to do with them, right? I mean,
Well,
there's a whole bunch.
Yeah, you've got Rice coming back off the injury.
Mm-hmm.
You still have Worthy. You find a third, fourth guy, free agency draft.
Hollywood's gone.
Yeah, there's been talk about them re-signing him. I wish they would. I'd like to see him get a full season with Mahomes.
Yeah,
because he was productive when he played. You still have Gray, who was a very good tight end this year, caught a ton of touchdown passes. They have the Harrison guy they picked up from Arizona, who was the left tackle, who came in, played 2 games, played very well. He'll probably get another look, either at that left tackle, right tackle spot. Whatever they can do to get Thuney back inside to get Caliendo off the field, then you're good.
Yeah.
But then, you might lose the right guard, Smith, Donovan Smith, I think.
Yeah.
And,
I thought he was a tech quarterback.
No. Then you're losing, you might lose Nick Bolton because, you only got so much money to go around to pay these guys.
Well, there was talk I saw where, they may ask Mahomes to restructure.
Oh, I'm sure he's already in process of doing that. He does it every season.
That's the good thing about having all that State Farm money.
And then if Kelsey retires, there's another $20 million you can use to go grab guys.
Yeah. Offensive line and defensively, like I said, Nick Bolton, he played a very admirable game. So, just
they could probably
line,
go grab Willie Gay.
They
could probably go grab Willie Gay back on the cheap.
Okay. And then, keep Chris Jones healthy.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Super Bowl 59, quite the dud of a game, unless you're a Phillies fan. And then, congratulations to all the former Sooners who performed in the Super Bowl. It was funny, the flexing on Xavier Worthy and his 2 touchdowns. Junkiest 157 yards,
right?
Receiving and 2 touchdowns ever in history.
I mean, they still had their starting secondary out there, so it wasn't like he was doing it on air. But yeah,
they were playing him like they were doing it on air. I mean,
the touchdown catch, he was double covered, and there were 2 guys on him.
He caught 2, right?
Yes, but the long one, the 60-yarder.
Yeah, sure.
He had 2 on him.
He's got speed,
Yeah. But it was a great catch in traffic.
Devontae Smith did it when the game counted.
Devontae Smith. Yeah, well.
It kind of counted.
Oh, I guess he should have just dropped it then. I mean,
he should have.
He made a great catch, double covered.
He'll give away a kickoff return if you're not careful.
Oh, hey, that's
anyway. Still, it was a weird flex for Texas fans to be.
Well, Chuck, you got to realize that's the first Texas player to ever score a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
That was pretty amazing.
And we're 59 in.
And What was Adams the first Alabama receiver to catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl?
I think so.
Yeah.
Nah, did Julio catch one when the Falcons made it?
I don't think he did. I'd have to go back and look, but I thought I saw that stat floating around.
Well, there's no threat of Amari Cooper doing it.
Oh,
I'm trying to think who the first Sooner was to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Exactly.
probably Damian Williams.
Maybe.
Didn't he have a big run for KC in their? I mean,
Yeah, he scored a couple of touchdowns. He should have been the
had
Super Bowl MVP
that first
right.
Super Bowl win, but no, they give it to Mahomes.
I'm just trying to think of skill guys that played at OU that have been in the Super Bowl. Boy, that's a tough one.
Well, I mean, honestly, and this is an indictment on the program that I follow, but I mean, can you think of skill guys who were really prominent before CeeDee Lamb?
Billy Sims.
Well, yeah. Running back. I'm talking, I guess, receiver skill guys.
Receiver skill guys.
Mark Clayton had a good run with the Ravens.
Clayton had a good run.
Ryan Broyles drank a cup of coffee with the Lions.
Well, you had Steven Alexander that was around forever with the
He
Broncos
played a lot.
and Chargers.
Yeah, he played a lot there. They did nothing.
Steve Sewell did.
Sewell. Yeah,
Sewell, yeah.
He would be. I mean, he would be the one guy who had postseason success up until.
And he's one of the ones you never really think of when you think of great OU backs, but yeah,
I guarantee you Barry thinks of him. I guarantee you Barry's thinking of him. Steve Sewell. All right, so football season wrapped up. We'll just sit here and wait for the Underwear Olympics and also the draft and spring football down at OU. And it's just a desolate time of the year, Jeremy.
I know. Well, we have the NBA, and that's about it.
Well, the NBA is going on, so we'll jump to that. And last night, the Thunder fall in Minnesota, and a very amped up Timberwolves team, which were shorthanded without Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Naz Reid really kind of just abused the Thunder last night.
Well, that's we've talked about this. Oh, Keith Jackson, he might have scored in a Super Bowl.
Which
we talked about this. That would have been when he was with the Packers.
Yes.
So we've talked about this. That last night was what is called a scheduled loss in the league.
Yeah, it's
three
back to back. Games, you go on the road.
3 games in 4 nights, and then a home road back to back right before the All-Star break. Their head's not in that.
No, and it's easy to run into a buzzsaw with a team that's sitting 8th in the West.
And that's that's why they don't play
7th
back-to-backs in the playoffs, right?
That's right. You're exactly right.
Did Joe Washington or Greg Pruitt score in the Super Bowl? Because they both played in one. Yeah, Washington played in a couple.
Greg Pruitt was on the Browns, so when did he go to a Super Bowl?
He had a cup of coffee with the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Did
you see Chris Berman in the post game at all?
No, I was checked out by then.
He's bad.
Lance Rensel.
Was Zabel on any team that ever went and did anything?
No, but
God, no.
Super OU fan over here didn't realize Lance Rensel played at OU.
What era would that be? Would that have been the Blake years?
That would have been that'd been the Tatum years.
Oh,
yeah, that's pre-Switzer, 1960s.
Brush myself up on.
I guess he was teammates with Switzer and Jim Riley and that bunch.
Okay, well, good to know.
I said Switzer. It's Owens,
yeah. Lance Rensel.
Eddie Hinton.
Okay, let's just stop. Like I said, you had Billy Sims, with the Lions who never did anything, and then, well, I mean, obviously the when that gets thrown out, the name Troy Aikman gets mentioned, but
he's not a Sooner.
Who considers him an OU quarterback?
Nobody.
I mean, that's the difference between OU and Bama is they will, OU fans will cut ties once you leave.
Yeah.
You know?
We might, root for you just because we have good memories of when you were here, kind of like me and Spencer Rattler. But
Yeah, he's just.
yeah, I don't claim him, and they left.
Yeah.
They're something else.
So anyway, Naz Reid last night for the Timberwolves, 27 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists. Jeremy, the one thing, and I know, Thunder fans and maybe the Thunder players are just chalking it up already, but the one thing I noticed was there was absolutely no intensity on the defensive boards. And
Those guys had no legs. They had that 21-point comeback the night before.
yeah,
Just think about that. They went 32-8 in the fourth quarter against the Heat. And yeah, and that was all they were tired.
26% from three for the Timberwolves and 24% for the the funny thing about looking at stats, Jeremy, and I find this in high school basketball, is you look at a line and you look at stats and you say, okay, our guys shot 38% from three, and and they made 4. And then you look at the other team and it's like, oh, our guys shot 22% from 3, but they made 8 and shot 40. I mean, it's just that 3 ball is just such an equalizer, and or just such a line skewer that once if you shoot a high percentage from 3 and don't shoot high volume, then it really is not going to separate you from what.
It's like you got into your analytics manual before you got on the air today.
Well, I mean, I'm not a proponent of it. I'm just saying, you just look at it and you see that the 3 ball is just, look at it. I mean,
is Conard in there with you?
12 3-pointers as opposed to 7. I mean, it is just one of those things that
it's an extra point every time you make one.
At 29 threes compared to 46. I mean, I guess being an old school guy and constantly being accused of preaching mid range, it's just stunning to me how it's like they missed a ton of threes. How are they still in this game?
But you know that with missed threes, I guess what is the percentage? It's 25% more likely you're going to get an offensive rebound.
Oh, sure,
the long kick out.
They Kareem all over the place.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I said, in high school basketball, I see the effect with the team I cover, our girls team. They shoot a lot of threes and they get some offensive rebounds, and then our boys shoot more mid range and high percentage. And if a team comes in and is just jacking them up and we can't corral, the rebounds, then next thing you know, it's like we went to overtime Tuesday against a team that had no business even competing with us, but
because they were making long balls.
They got hot a couple of times in spurts in the game from 3 and stayed in it.
Do you have a position as an offensive consultant for the boys team?
I should. Really, they run what I would. I mean, like I said, when you've got 3 guys who are 6'6" or taller, get the high percentage stuff down low. I mean, it makes sense.
Play in the post.
Oh yeah, I mean it's automatic points.
You kick out to the corner. That's the shortest 3 on the floor.
That's true. Yeah, we've got some good 3-point shooters, but just some nights, as we saw last night with the Thunder, it was not to be. But they're 44-10, still first in the West. People are ready. I mean, Chet came back, but he's not back.
No, they're working him back in. He's on a pitch count, and he's getting his legs back under him. And this isn't about right now. They're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did cut they got behind and they did cut it to 6 at one time, or maybe even to 4 at one time, and they
got it
coming back, but
they just didn't have it last night.
Anthony Edwards, I get weary of that guy. He's a great talent and all, but him and Ja Morant to me are just those guys that will be in 5 years they'll be looking to try to go to a big media place and they'll ditch where they're at and
Ja Morant's got to do a heck of a lot more rehab on his image before that happens.
But I mean, you telling me that the Knicks, Sixers, or Clippers wouldn't take a flyer on him?
The Sixers will be in a complete teardown rebuild by then, so probably not.
They got to go get a star eventually that can play. So
Well, they got Paul George, destroyer of franchises.
I hate you. I hate you. I like Paul George. He's had a run of bad luck.
Sure.
But anyway, so the All-Star break's coming up, and it's just going to be kind of a debacle of entertainment, I guess.
The All-Star weekend. They're playing a round robin that nobody cares about the skills competitions. Just give them a week off. Let's just
Mac McClung going to win the dunk contest again?
see. That's the problem. Is I don't know who that is. He played at Tech. I know.
Yeah, man, I was about to pounce on you.
Yeah,
Dude.
I don't. Wouldn't you rather see some guys that are actually stars compete in the dunk contest?
Oh
Do
yeah,
you, ever,
yeah.
do you remember guys back in the day getting hurt doing the dunk contest, or they just don't do it because it's an inconvenience to their training regimen?
Yeah, it's just it's it's just showing out to not show out.
You
But
know, Mike and Dominique, they did it every year.
Neek was the human highlight film, and he knew
That's
that was
right.
his time to shine somewhere beyond TBS. And that's probably as much to do with it as anything is the fact that these guys don't need that kind of exposure anymore.
Well, it sure was a lot more fun.
Spud Webb, I heard him talking about him on a network the other day. It might be an anniversary for his dunk contest win or whatever. What, 85 maybe?
I had the poster. Spud Webb, 5'7".
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was amazing. And then
Nate Robinson.
I can remember the first dunk contest winner. Do you remember who that was?
Kenny Skywalker.
No,
I don't know.
Larry Nance, Phoenix.
Oh yeah, Larry Nance. That's right.
did one of the most thunderous tomahawk dunks you've ever seen. His feet are just about even with the backboard.
And he had his hot pants on.
He had some nutters. Yeah, there were nutters in full effect, and then
Booty shorts.
and then I think the next year, I don't remember if I'd have to research that, but I don't remember if Dr. J won a dunk contest.
He won a dunk contest with the free throw line dunk.
Okay. MJ or Dr. J?
No, Dr. J was the first to do it. But that may have been in the ABA.
Yeah. Neek won one, and then Spud Webb, and then I think Kenny Skywalker did win one, which
He did.
Walker was a tremendous athlete, vertical out of the gym, but really not much else.
Well, Ron Gordon won one, didn't he?
Yeah, that was against Zach LaVine, if I remember right, wasn't it?
Yeah. Guys that were actually,
That was
decent
probably the
basketball players.
last year that I remember two guys who they weren't stars yet, but they were up and coming, and
Mhm.
and they were guys that were really really trying to show out. And since then, it's just, I mean, you start letting G League guys come in and
Well,
compete.
Hamadou Diallo won one, and where's he now?
Yeah.
I think he's on another continent playing.
Hey, speaking of former Thunder bench players, did you see Luca? No. Did you? What do you feel about this Thunder team and their other guys? I mean, it didn't help last night against Minnesota. The SGA gets 24. He's usually a 32 guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love Wiggins, Isaiah Joe. I mean, if you get prime Lou Dort back in effect, you probably really and are they a team right now that Daignault can maneuver lineups and factor that with different opponents?
Yeah, he did that against the Heat. He played a completely different lineup. You got Case and Wallace, Caruso, Dort,
Yeah.
who all can lock
Which
anybody.
I don't think
down.
Caruso played last night, did he?
No, he didn't play.
Yeah.
Wiggins can come off the bench and score a ton, as he has. AJ Mitchell, who just got that NBA contract, is a really good player, and see what he can do. But you have Chet and Hartenstein, which they're still trying to figure out how to play with those two guys together. So the fact they're 44-10 at this point is pretty incredible. Trying to think who else is on that Thunder bench. Joe, Wiggs,
Kenrich Williams.
Kenny Hustle, yeah, who will give you big minutes anytime you call on him, and he can shoot. Kenny
Yeah,
Hustle. Oh
it's a
yeah,
good situation.
the other Jalen Williams.
Yeah, Jay Will.
Yeah,
It's a good situation. I mean, I mean, you have to, and it might make you worry, but there are a lot of prognosticators just saying that they're the prohibitive favorite.
sure. It's the only guy that wasn't homegrown. Well, two guys. Well, no, I guess Caruso was.
I was gonna say he was there a
He
hot
was
minute
there, yeah, as a
as a
rookie.
youngster.
Uh, you got Shea, who was via trade. Everybody else is homegrown,
Yeah, and
top to
what a
bottom.
trade that was. When you look at the Clippers now, and I was the guy from my Spurs fandom that hated to see Kawhi leave San Antonio, which I truly believe he wouldn't if he would have stuck it out, got with the program, he wouldn't be talked about in terms that he's talked about now. Now he did get a ring in Toronto, but he would have got one in San Antonio too. But I mean, you look at that trade and you talk about just a fleecing.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the Clippers gave up on this young talent.
Kawhi had to have Paul George,
He had to have Paul George, and
no
I
matter
mean,
what.
every time I see SGA pull up for just an automatic 14-footer, I just think to myself, you guys had that.
Yeah,
You let it go.
yeah, and all the draft capital that came with it.
Oh yeah.
The J Dub pick was a Clippers pick, I think. Um, Man, you got all those guys on the bench, and you still have a ton of picks and pick swaps with the Clippers, and the Clippers are in decline. The Thunder still going up, and they don't have enough roster spots for all those picks. So what do?
Trade him.
Trade them.
Yeah.
And they just got another pick. They traded for Daniel Tice with the uh, Pelicans right before the trade deadline for Tice and a second-round pick for cap relief. Well, they released Tice, but they still have the second-round pick. So here's another pick. It's like collecting Pokemon for
It kind of
Presti.
is. I mean, that's got to be Presti's model. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, so basketball is get ready to go. All-Star break. Playoffs will be just around the corner. They'll start early April and end about July 4th. All through storm season, you can count on playoff basketball in the NBA. College basketball really pretty rough right now for both state schools, OU and OSU. OU just getting battered in the SEC. Just
Maybe the
not
worst team in the country.
They're bad. I mean,
So
the fact
bad.
that they beat a ranked Vanderbilt team so badly just it almost
So
sucks
bad.
worse than if they would have got beat, because you see, oh, so you can do it that night. But
Yeah, they've broken me. I can't even watch them anymore.
yeah, OU girls are competing. They just don't have quite the mules that you need to compete in the SEC. Horses, sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, it's a rough game in the SEC for women's
Yeah.
basketball.
It really is.
I gotta say, I'm taking it back.
And we both thought, hey, Oklahoma going to the SEC. That's not like a huge step down in competition, but it's not the Big 12. Well,
No.
guess what?
Yeah, it's I don't know. Hey, so the other night, last night or 2 nights ago, OU loses to Missouri and Columbia. I don't think anybody was expecting a win there, but just they never
expecting
could
a
get
30-point housing.
dusting. They've got to win, I think, 4 of their last 7 to really be considered a bubble team, and that's I looked at the schedule. They still got to play Florida, don't they?
That is a Herculean task.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to
4-7.
they would have to catch teams that are just totally checked out.
Totally checked out. They're going to have to play as good as they possibly can.
The
They haven't done
Forsyth
that.
kid from Dale is kind of a bright spot. I mean,
Yeah,
he's a kid from Dale.
I know. He hustles and he's scrappy, but he's what,
But
6'1", 6'2".
Oh yeah, I mean he's going to be a guard that hustles.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. I mean, this is unprecedented territory for SEC basketball. Because
is.
right now they've assumed the same role that the Big 12 had for the last 10 years. I mean,
What was I seeing that they could legitimately have 3 1 seeds.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
That's
mean,
crazy.
and I'm not even trying to show SEC bias. It would be justified. I mean,
Yeah.
because right now, who would be the fourth that wasn't SEC? Duke.
Probably. I don't have the rankings right in front of me, but I'll just go off track
There's
record.
nobody in the
Probably
big.
Duke.
There's nobody in the Big Ten that's going to be contending for that.
No, probably Duke.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Where's Iowa State right this week? Were they?
I'm pulling up the rankings. I
Yeah,
like I said, I'm so checked out on men's
it's
basketball.
tough, and I'll sit and watch the end of a game. If
Yeah,
I'm up late.
it's Duke.
Yeah.
But the AP's got Auburn, Alabama, Duke, Florida, Tennessee as your top 5.
Oh yeah.
Houston
I
6,
mean,
Purdue 7.
Houston would probably have to complete a Big 12 tournament run,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
To be
And
considered,
then
and even then they might just get a 2. But
A&M 8, St. John's 9, Iowa State 10.
man, it's got to be, and I haven't, I've just kind of followed SEC basketball from afar. Like Alabama, the last Alabama team I could remember that had this kind of success was like the Eric Dampier days. No, that he was Mississippi State. Big guy. Daggone it.
What's his name?
In the
Played for
90s.
who?
Played for Detroit.
Mark Aguirre?
No, he was DePaul.
Spider Salad?
Antonio McDyess.
Oh,
Antonio
okay.
McDyess. Thank you. That's the last time I can remember Alabama like being a contender, and now they're just there. And Auburn's got everybody's ready to crown them. Florida's so tough. Tennessee. I mean, it's a terrible year for Oklahoma to step into the SEC. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it's been a horrible year for Oklahoma just to be Oklahoma.
Yeah. But baseball and softball are around the corner, and I know there's optimism there. We did a poll last week on our Twitter page at Law Dog Sports. What sport do you most look forward to once football's over or in the spring? And college softball won that poll by 60% to something. I forget what the percentages were, but
that's valid.
Yeah, OU comes into the AP poll or the SEC rankings ranked 3rd behind Texas and Florida.
Yeah, I think they're 5-0, 6-0 already.
Mm-hmm. I think Long Beach gave them a game.
Yeah, Long Beach's got a pretty good squad.
Yeah.
All those teams out there are pretty decent. They get to play year round.
Well, it's like we say with all of these just repeat champions, until you cut the head off and pull their heart out while it's still beating, they're going to, I'm not going to bet against them. I mean, Patty Gasso will figure out a way to,
Well, if Patty's teams ever catch a loss, it's usually about this time of year.
Sure.
So,
yeah. Major League Baseball just around the corner as well. I visited with John Moore from the Rangers Baseball Weekly Podcast, DLLS Rangers Baseball Podcast, a week ago Wednesday. And he's pretty optimistic about Texas Rangers baseball this season. And, they've got some competition with Seattle. I saw that Bregman left for the Red Sox the other day.
Cubs couldn't find it in their budget to sign him.
Yeah. Dan Narva checking in. Happy Friday, guys. Dan's got to be a little happy. I see the prognosticators giving Detroit the nod in the AL Central.
Would you look at that?
Coming off of a playoff. And
how about that?
Or was it a wild card? Yeah, it was a wild card they made.
Yep.
And so projected finishes that I'm seeing through Lindy's: Yankees in the East, Detroit in the West, in the Central, and Seattle in the West. Obviously for the Rangers, we talked about it with John. Health is just so prominent, and that's the way it is for every team. But just one of those situations where, pitching, you got to keep your stars, your lineup has got to be healthy and giving you good innings, and then everything else is kind of fall in place.
Yeah, didn't they? They pretty much had a mash unit on the mound last year.
Oh yeah, they were so out of it already. Here's something interesting though, Jeremy. In the AL West, the A's are picked ahead of the Angels.
Oh, the A's? How?
Yes. Obviously, farm system and promising young talent.
Moneyball.
As opposed to that big hulk of a Ember contract. That the Angels are still giving Mike Trout.
That's the Angels are just the most dysfunctional.
They really should be tried on war crimes. I mean,
they had Ohtani and Trout and never put anybody else around them.
For what they've done to those poor Orange County residents. Just so bad. National League, Phillies projected to win the East. This is all according to Lindy's. There's other publications, but the Cubs are predicted to win the Central.
See, I can't take it seriously.
Guess who's projected to be manager of the year?
Craig Counsell.
Craig Counsell, baby. And then the Dodgers in the West, and obviously the Ohtani thing, and then just they're hard to pick against, but
yep.
I don't know.
I don't either.
You would think that some little upstart NL West team would just kind of be the bane, the kind of their Achilles heel.
Oh God,
is that possible in this day?
I don't know.
Of all the expenditures.
Well, they're not going to have to pay any of those until 2067.
Yeah,
since they deferred everybody's contracts.
Paul Skeens, just good enough for the Pirates to keep them out of the projected cellar above the Reds.
So where's he going to end up playing after the trade deadline?
Oh, he'll be a Met.
You think so? That makes too much sense for the Mets to do.
So what, Yankees?
Probably. It'll be Yankees, Dodgers.
Yeah,
always got the Dodgers in there because they're willing to spend all that money.
What if he went to Atlanta?
Ooh, that'd be nice.
What if he went to Chicago?
If he went to the Cubs, dude, I'd be so happy.
I'm telling you. You talk about big days at Wrigley.
Yeah, I haven't had much to be happy about since 2016 with the Cubs. So,
yeah,
getting Skeens would be fantastic. Juan Soto ended up with the Mets, right?
He did.
And they paid him that ridiculous contract that's going to expire when he's like 60. And
that'll be the next Bobby Bonilla day.
Sure, yeah, Bobby Bonilla day, but he's going to be he'll probably be the latter half of his career Pujols in about 3 years.
Yeah. Well, Philly, they've got Zach Wheeler that they're high on, and then they still have Bryce Harper, Schwarber. They're just kind of Philly.
Schwarbs.
But yeah.
Schwartz needs to go back to the Cubs.
The thing is, Jeremy, is in this day and time, the Cubs are going to have to make some splash like that to get into contention with a team like LA.
They got to be willing to spend money, and the ownership group is not willing to spend money.
Yeah.
They're at $211 million, and that is their budget.
Lindy's stepping out on a limb and predicting the Braves to win the National League.
I could see that.
Yeah. Why not?
Is what's the kid's name that keeps hurting his knees? It's just dynamite though.
Pitcher or
no, he's a position player.
For the Braves?
Yeah.
Strider?
No, he's a Latin kid.
Oh, Acuna?
Yeah. Acuna. Yeah, that kid, if he could ever stay healthy.
Yeah, he's they are saying they predict him to be up and running, so keep him healthy. Isn't he one that didn't they fleece the Marlins for him?
Yep.
Back when Stanton went to New York, wasn't he like the Jeter charity tour?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought they picked him up
when Jeter was just dismantling.
Yeah, when Jeter was the GM and just saying, "Here, take these great players. We don't need them."
Ultimately, he's no longer the owner, right? Is he still involved in that franchise?
I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah.
All right, so baseball just around the corner. I think pitchers and catchers have either reported already, or if not, it's coming up quickly. But I know John Moore, our friend from the Rangers weekly podcast, Rangers Baseball Weekly podcast, said he would check back in with us once they. Thing is, Friday mornings are tough for him because they film their podcast during that time. So, anyways, but good man, and we of course, man, I tell you, social media wise, Jeremy, he's he's got a kid attending UT, and he's just hook 'em this and hook 'em that. And it's tough, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's gross.
I love the guy, but golly, he said,
My cousin has a kid attending UT Austin, and
yeah,
it's unbearable.
he said that his son came up and visited OU. They loved it and this and that, but at the end of the day, you can't pull that Texan out of him.
I guess so.
Yeah. You know, there's so many derogatory lines about Texans, but now they're so politically incorrect. Dan Narva checking in. Haven't heard that we lost on Bregman. Yeah, I saw the Tigers gnashing of teeth post tour after it happened. I mean, you know, they're questioning whether they can really make a run now without picking up that Bregman deal. Let's see. Dan Narva came down to Hinch or Cora, Comerica or Green Monster, 17, 171 for 6 or 120 for 3 with opt-outs. Yeah, he's got a lot of opt-outs, I think, on that contract.
The Cubs offered him 120 for 4 with an opt-out after 2.
You know, I mean, Wrigley would be a good place for him to flourish, wouldn't it?
Sure, right-handed hitter.
Yeah.
Just hit balls over the ivy all day long.
I was going to say, I mean, I would take that deal.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
that's a good deal.
That's good. All right, so Super Bowl's over. Basketball is kind of in a lull. I looked on the Score app today, Jeremy, and it's just nothing but soccer. On my preferences, I don't even know what college basketball is available today. Let's see. Yeah, 2 college basketball games in the men's side. UCLA and Indiana. St. Louis and Loyola. And then the rest is soccer. Oh, you know what we missed out on last week?
What's that?
The Waste Management in Phoenix. I didn't see any highlights trending.
I'm sure those
too
people
heavy,
had fun.
Oh, yeah. It's a great time.
They cut off liquor sales again?
They would have had to have. I noticed that now it's the WM Classic, or they don't spell out Waste Management very often.
That's what a golf tournament should be.
Yeah, I mean it's basically Happy Gilmore come to life. Don't we have the new Happy Gilmore coming out before long?
We do. It's going to be on Netflix, so you won't even have to leave the house to watch it.
Wow. Thanks, Sandman. This weekend is the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. I know Sunday night they're having a humongous program with so many alumni coming back. I saw on the Today Show earlier this week, Jeremy, that they did a bracket count. They did a bracket tournament of best SNL sketches, and the final 4 consisted of the Behind the Music cowbell sketch going up against the Church Lady, and then Matt Foley, motivational speaker, versus Celebrity Jeopardy. And they had Celebrity Jeopardy and cowbell advancing. So it was Will Ferrell versus Will Ferrell for funniest sketch of all time. No
Land Shark?
Land Shark. I always got a kick out of the Killer Bees.
The Killer Bees was funny.
Yeah. And then from the 80s, I mean, Phil Hartman and John Lovitz. The People's Court. That's one of the greatest ever. John Lovitz as the devil on the People's Court. That was so dead on. And Kevin Nealon as Doug Llewellyn. That was classic. Wayne's World was in the final 8. Church Lady, I told my wife, I said, I can remember as a kid getting a high schooler, getting a real kick out of that. But then 2 weeks, about the second time they ran, I was like, okay, this is.
Yeah. It was a little much after a couple of watches.
Yeah. The Beavis and Butthead thing of recent.
Oh, that one was funny.
That one, and then also one of my favorites, and I'm also a fan of the offbeat ones. The one with Larry David playing Kevin Roberts in the FBI shooting simulator.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I'll effort that and send it to you.
Okay.
It's It's hilarious. It's a good one. And then also going back, and it's so hard to find, but there was in, I think, 84 when Eddie Murphy came back to guest host.
Mm-hmm.
They did a sketch where he played the Bishop Desmond Tutu. Rich Hall played Doug Flutie, and they were on a talk show. And Desmond Tutu broke Doug Flutie's Heisman. It was on the heels of the Hail Mary pass. And so at the end of it, they show Eddie Murphy over there simulating like he's welding. And they keep telling Doug Flutie, let's look at your clip again. And so he finally turns around, and Christopher Guest was the host in the sketch. Eddie's like, and they just start going on. He's like, I'm 5'8". I'm probably going to be, just known for this play the rest of my life. I'll probably end up in my 30s living in a trailer park. Blah, blah. And they hand him his trophy back, and it's just this hulk of metal. I don't know. That one just always struck me as hilarious.
Yeah, I'm failing at this because I can't think of the recent ones. I liked Bergazzi. A lot of the things
the Washington sketches, yeah.
Those
are good.
And then Chappelle. Anything Chappelle does is pretty funny, but the balloon pop with the player haters was pretty funny.
Yeah. One of my favorites, obviously, as I've utilized it often.
Crush your enemies! Grind their bones into dirt!
There's so many, they're all running together for me.
Do what?
There's so many, they're all running together for me.
Yeah, AP Parnassus was one of my actually the Adam Driver episode where he was undercover boss and Darth Vader. That was a good one. Yeah.
My friend said he saw him in the shower and he's totally ripped.
And in the 90s, I mean, you had the cheerleaders and you had
I did like the when Hartman did Clinton and they did the Ten Commandments. And Bill Clinton was trying to justify it. Was right after the
thing. Oh, the Phil Hartman doing Clinton on the jog, stopping at McDonald's.
Real stories of the Arkansas Highway Patrol.
That was a good one. They had some good ones with Appalachian Emergency Room back in the day. One of my favorites, I mean, the Californians are some great ones. And then also they did one with Bill Hader and Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig called Super Showcase.
Him doing the host of what is it? The crime show on CBS.
On NBC does Keith Morrison.
Yeah, Dateline.
Yeah. That pesky DNA. Hader's a great guy. I met him, or I got to shake his hand back in the 2012 finals when I was doing NBA
Tulsa's
security.
Own Bill Hader.
Tulsa's own. South Park contributor, too. But anyways, so yeah, just some classic stuff. I'll be interested to see what they have going on with the 50th anniversary celebration. But I've got basketball this weekend, and they're moving some stuff around tonight. It's homecoming for Weatherford, the team that I call basketball for. And have we talked since we almost went semi-viral again?
No. What happened?
Okay, so 2 weeks ago, Weatherford hosted Anadarko.
Oh, yeah, you did the Goulet thing.
Yeah, the Goulet thing.
Okay. I was trying to find a gift to send at you, but Elvis used to shoot his TV every time he saw Robert Goulet on it, right?
Goulet. That was a good sketch. The Goulet. I can't believe Will Ferrell wasn't canceled for using the N-word in those sketches. I mean, that's just,
it was a different time.
When he's singing those rap songs and he calls them hooligans or
ruffians. So what possessed you to sing Robert Goulet?
Oh, it's our friend Dean Lindsay at Stretch of Norman.
I mean, you could have just gone whole the Delicious Dish from SNL. Just monotone, sweaty balls.
Yeah. I just wanted to express my appreciation. Yeah, and that was another one that my wife and I mentioned. Is like, how did Delicious Dish not end up in the Final Four? That's a classic. So
there's so many.
Dean Lindsay there at Stretch of Norman. We've just had a running joke about Goulet for years, and something, just out of Goulet, because back during that time of when Will Ferrell did that sketch, he made a lot of talk show appearances as Goulet and just stayed in character the whole time,
Yeah.
So, anyways, but Saturday Night Live going on, and then really not much else sports wise, Jeremy, this weekend.
No, it's All-Star Weekend, and I won't watch any of that. So,
No.
Man, just catch up on the Netflix.
Yeah. If you get a chance, of course, I say nothing going on this weekend. Tomorrow, there's all kinds of college basketball. LSU at Oklahoma.
Yeah, now I'm not watching that.
No. Oklahoma State hosts Texas Tech. Tech got a big overtime win against Arizona State, and that was after getting housed by Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
But then, man, the way OSU lost the other night to TCU, you talk about gut wrenching. I mean, did you see it?
No.
Okay, so they had trailed the whole game. They take a 3-point lead with like 5 seconds left, and TCU all of a sudden goes full-blown Christian Laettner and hurls it to the top of the key, and dude drains a 3 for the win at the buzzer.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, you cannot gut a team worse, and just terrible for the Cowboys. So
I'm just glad that Oklahoma State's having as much fun in the new conference format as Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. Is. Yeah, they are they're really, I mean, to be kind of the leftovers of the Big 12 once Texas and OU left, I mean, they are just, I mean, if they don't have a good baseball, softball's going to be good. Their softball team's quality, but man, if baseball struggles, all they'll be able to hang their hat on is wrestling.
I know, and they'll
I
hang
think they
their
got
hat on it.
the other night by
they got meat judging and
they got equine up there.
Yeah. Equestrian. And maybe golf. It's a golf. It's always been a golf school.
Texas Tech comes into GIA at 19-5, third in the Big 12, and ranked number 12. And OSU is 12-12. So something got to give there.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, I'll try to catch some college basketball just because
because I'm so bored.
Oh yeah. Also, be sure to check out that doc that I told you about. Let's see, Busso checking in. Wayne's World. Dan Narva, he does a good old Blue Eyes too. My kind of town.
There you go.
Underground Inc.
Okay. Yeah.
Check that out this weekend if you're not busy. I think you'll like it considering some of the music that we've talked about this and there. But anyways, we probably better get out of here. And man, Jeremy, as a friend and now partner going on 5 years, dude, my condolences to you and your squad. I would have been happy for you with the three-peat. Marty Wandry, Busso, who else we got?
I mean, I'll speak for them. Winning the 2 prior Super Bowls really takes a lot of the sting out of it. It's tough to three-peat.
Well, you have 3.
Oh yeah, but 2 in a row.
In your adult life, you have 3.
Yeah. But 3 in a row has never happened. And now you know why. It's tough.
Yeah, it is
the
tough.
League's not built for it.
It's not. And your quote today will probably make it to a YouTube short about turning Mahomes into Alex Smith.
Well, that's not an original. I saw that somewhere.
Well, you'll get credit for it on this show. So
okay.
Anyway. All right. Well, he's Jeremy Schroeder, and I am Chuck Ramsey, and we are the Weekend Big Show. Here with you every Friday, and Jeremy does a great job here with me. We appreciate him. We appreciate everybody tuning in to YouTube. Dan Narva, Michael Busso. Don't know if we caught any of the rest of our regular cast, but I'm sure they'll catch us later. But man, what a lull we have. We'll have to dig up some content for next week. Some will accuse us that we didn't dig up any for this week, but we did recap the Super Bowl after a full 4-day intake. So anyways, be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll be back with you next Friday. Be sure and check out our SoundCloud pages, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts. Also follow us and subscribe on YouTube at Law Dog Sports and on social media, Facebook, Twitter, X, and Instagram. Be safe, and we'll talk to you next week.
Uh-oh. All right, my salesman's calling me.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, bye.